I have a photo from a wedding where there are literally 100 faces in a single 4x6 landscape print. I keep looking at embellishments, but I'm not sure what to use that won't overwhelm the photo. Glitter Girl, can you help?
Of course I can. I'm actually going to focus mostly on using paper as my embellishments and only bring in a little bit of things that are not paper, like some brads and some enamel dots or pearls. But I'll leave those for later, and I'm going to start with plenty of paper. I only have one photo that's kind of like the one that you described, and I have scrapbooked it at least once, if not twice already, but it's always fun one to return to, so I'm going to use it again today. And this is the big group shot at our wedding. So I'm going to start by using the colors that we used for the wedding, and I think that that works well in a wedding album, so that you don't have to feel tied down to exactly the same paper. I don't have to choose, oh, I only want these 3 papers throughout my wedding album, but instead choose the colors that appeared in the wedding. So we wore pink accents, and our bridesmaids and groomsmen wore blue. So that sort of color scheme right here is what everything was at the wedding. So that way I'm not tied into a certain type of a certain pattern or even a certain collection or a certain time, because this was a long time ago, was 2008, so the papers have changed. The papers I have available now are different, and so I like that freedom, so that I'll still be able to add to the album if I want to, if I'm inspired to, without feeling like I have to find vintage papers from 2008. Okay, so things that I'm going to do to try and keep the focus on this photo is that first I'm going to start with a pale background, which isn't something you see me do all the time. I do like my color and my pattern, and you can do this with plain white or cream cardstock, but I am going to use a pattern, and this is from Pebbles, and one of their current collections. And then I have some of Maggie Holmes' Chasing Dreams collection, and I've got the pink in both a circle pattern and a heart pattern. And then I've got this one that has phrases. I have some pink cameras, and I have a floral. Now, florals are definitely something that it's not earth-shattering that I'm going to suggest florals for a wedding page, because we see plenty of flowers at almost every wedding. So most of the time they tend to be something that seems pretty sensible. So I am going to use that flower paper as most of my embellishment. I want to cut a few layers of paper to go behind this picture to bring in the color scheme. And you can do this with solid colors as well. It will feel more formal with solids. It feels more casual, although it doesn't, once you've added the photo and the floral, it's not going to feel super casual, like, it's not a picnic in jeans. And things like the pearls that I'm going to add later will dress it up even more. But if you want it to feel very formal, like almost if you wanted to do something where you've got something where everyone is very much in line, the sort of wedding that you go to where maybe the men are in uniform or anything like that, then you might look at solid colors as feeling better with that formality. But if everything is, a little bit, not everybody's looking at the camera, everybody's kind of scattered around, to me that feels less formal. And then this floral paper I'm going to cut up with my scissors. So I definitely want one either side, so I need at least 2 bundles, but they can be bundles that go off the edge of the paper, because I'm going to tuck them behind that photo. So I'll start with that, and that leaves me the ones that are complete. It gives me that ability to go back and use those if I need them. So I'm just going to cut these out with my scissors before I do anything else. Starting to have enough cut out, but I'm just going to add a few more things. So I'm going to add a box with these cameras. This is also from Maggie Holmes' Chasing Dreams. I'm going to take a box here that has 2 pink ones. Always love a camera print and always love one that makes it nice and easy to cut them out and use them as embellishments. So you could cut these out individually, of course, or you can use them as little boxes. So I'm going to have 2 of those. And I wanted to choose some phrases from here. And I was just deciding, should I keep it just to the pink, or should I leave the white at the edge? But this white and this white are not exactly the same, so I'm going to keep it to just the pink. And to cut the white away. I think I'm going to cut this back here a little bit too. And if you wanted to maintain the torn edge from the pattern, you could also just tear the paper. I'm thinking that might go nicely at the top. So, like another one to go in the middle of the page, maybe over to one side. So add this one. And I have one more cut apart sheet sitting there that I'll have a look at. Okay, so that one has a flat edge over there. Well, actually it could go on either side because I could just make that edge flat, but I think it will look nice on this side. On this cut apart sheet, it was this one that I wanted to use. This one has just an abstract floral in the background. It's the same colors as the floral that I've cut out. And this is from that same Pebbles collection. And it has a lot of teapots, and we used teapots as part of the decor at the wedding, so that fits in a more obvious way than you might realize. I'll go for this little guy with the teacup. Okay, and then to dress this up a little bit and make it all look like it's meant to go together, I'm going to ink the edges. So I'm going to use gray ink today. Brown for this color scheme would just drag it down and make it not look the same way that the decor of the day looked. So I'm going to keep it with gray because it's not as heavy as a black. Yeah, I want to keep this photo as the darkest thing on the page so that it's still going to grab your attention even though it has all those people in it. But the photo itself is quite dark, with the greenery at the background and all of this in the foreground. Okay, so gray is my best option there. And what else have I got? So lots of things to ink. By the way, one of the easiest things that could help is if it's possible and you've got a photo like this of a big group of people, is to print it bigger. I don't want to sound like that's completely obvious, but if a thought hasn't crossed your mind because you just normally work with 4x6 or 3x4 photos, then it may not have crossed your mind. This is a great opportunity to use a big 8x12 or 8x10 or A4 sized print, and then you'll be able to see everybody a little bit easier. But what I'm going to do is, once I've done this page, I'm going to show you how to add a little document where you can write down everybody's names in case you would like to have some sort of record for posterity, so that if you weren't there to say who all those people were, or you're worried that you might forget, then you would have it in your album. Okay, have I inked everything that I've cut out? I believe so. Oh, no, I missed one. Okay. Now I start layering. So I'm not planning on any big purchased embellishments at this point. I'm just going to embellish with all this paper, and I'm putting my adhesive well within the box so that I can put things behind it, because I've got all those flowers that I want to layer with this. I'm moving this pattern over enough that you'll be able to see that that's bunting. And then I want to have both of these be able to fit here. So the camera's going to go almost to the edge here, just so that it's still touching that pink. And then this one. And that's going to overlap a little bit. Could actually, maybe I like that a little bit better. And the photo is going to go here. And then I'm going to pop those florals in. So now that one there, and this one up here. So I think actually I'll tuck it underneath. Now, in rotating this to get the most pleasing arrangement here, it means I've ended up with this straight edge here. But I think that will be easy enough for me to just cover with some other element. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to go ahead and make that the right spot there. And I want to add a little bit of dimension here. I'm going to pop that on there. Okay. Sorry. All of this. This one. So the edge of the floral is going to go right off the edge of the paper, but just a little bit. That one's going to come up there. I think time for a few more pop dots, so that instead of using big embellishments, I'm just going to have some layers with the paper. And you can buy foam squares or pop dots in different heights. And I find that the ones that are a bit flatter, now did you just notice what happened? So I said all that about, I'm placing the pink over here so that you can tell this is bunting. And now you can't tell that it's bunting at all. You can just see the little flowers. That's okay too. This happens. I'm just going to tuck the little birdie behind here with this teacup. There we go. And maybe bring this down to cover that edge. Yeah. I'll put that on flat rather than lift it up. I think put it under the pink instead of much higher, and it needs to come over here. But not quite that far. Okay. I think it will work well if this line here comes down right in between the words. Okay, I'm going to stick it, so now I'm committed. Okay, lettering then. Now, I'm still going with things that are soft, hot, giant colors, not something that's going to steal the attention, so that everything will just be a frame. And write this title right across here. And I wanted to include this particular type of letter because I've got multiple shades of white on this page, And so when I've got maybe 2 shades, because I've got 2 different collections, I find that I actually prefer it if I go ahead and add a third and or fourth shade of white or cream, because then it looks like it's on purpose rather than this one doesn't match and all the others do. So that's my intention there. I'm going to do a little bit of embellishment with just a date stamp, because even though this is in an album where everything is from the same day, I still like the theming of having the date on each page. I was thinking about stamping more on there, but I'm going to leave it like that. Okay, and so time for a little bit more to finish it. And I'm going to bring the pearls into the floral. I'm just doing 3 on the greenery that goes off the page, even though it's not the same kind of leaf. And then larger ones in the center of those blossoms. And I've got these tiny pink hearts, and I'm going to combine with the little word strips. I've got a tiny little triangle there, one down here as well. So everything is still framing that photo, 3 of these and 3 of that, so that the photo is in the middle, and 3 of these and 3 over here, and the photo's in the middle. And really trying to make sure that I don't use things that are so bold that they would detract. I'm using soft patterns and soft colors, and then not even huge geometric shapes that that could detract. So something even as simple as a really big heart shape would make your eye go to that and not necessarily to the photo. So that's why I'm trying to stick to things that are small and soft in both shape and color. If your photo was a lot lighter than this, you could use the exact opposite to what I'm doing, where I'm using a lot of light tones here. If your photo was really light, you could either just put a dark frame around it to bring it in, or you could swap the whole idea and have this be a really dark tone in the background, and then your photo is going to pop up to your field of vision. I'm just going to scatter these in some spots where there's maybe a little bit of awkward space like this, so that I have 3 of those on the page as well. So I've made a big triangle here so that the pearls are all in places where there was a little edge of the greenery, 1 up here, 2 down here, so that those are framing the photo as well. Now I've got these little edges here to trim away, just where it's going to go off the edge. And I'm going to leave this one here. If the colors worked with what I had in my stash, I might also put some mist droplets up here and down here. But in this case, I know that the more silvery tone I have that would match this and the gray and all the accents, it just doesn't look beautiful on this kind of white background, so I'm going to skip that. But it could work on your page. Now, if I want to make something that makes it easy for me to document all the people in the photo, I need a sheet of vellum or tracing paper, and I need a fine point pen. And it's a simple but tedious job of tracing everybody in the photo. Okay, so it doesn't need to be something that's completely amazing and beautiful. It needs to be practical before anything else. So practical over appearance to start. And then if you can make the appearance great too, then brilliant. But practical is what you need. Because you need so that when this is in a page protector and then this is the next page protector, you'll be able to line them up and see where they go. Then you can either, depending on the size of the people in your picture, you can either write their names on them, or what's more likely is that you'll need to number everyone and then create a list that you can paste here with everyone's name. Now, the names, you could do this a few different ways. You could use a 12 by 12 sheet of vellum, which I don't have to hand. I don't have a plain 12 by 12 vellum, so I used this size, which I did have. What I could do is type or print a list and print or write it onto white cardstock, or a cardstock that's going to match what's here. Trim that here, sew the two together, and then I've got my 12 by 12. Or you can put this in a smaller page protector and you can write all the names here in the open space, because this is always going to be legible because it's its own page. And that will help you have both a layout that doesn't detract from all the busyness of your photo, because everything else is quite open and plain and simple. Even though I've used a lot of pattern, you're still going to be able to see the photo without having to fight to get its attention. But you'll also be able to create something that gives you a record of everybody that's in that picture, and this is a really easy way to do that. If you prefer to work digitally, there are ways that you can digitally number everyone, and then you could print that out. But being somebody who prefers to keep the digital stuff in my album to a minimum, I like the idea of just tracing around with my pen. Thanks so much for watching, and keep the questions coming. If you have a question, please join us at Scrapbook Like a Superhero. It's a Facebook group where you can share whatever you've been working on, or any questions that you have about scrapbooking, any questions about what products would be great for something, or a title, any sort of dilemma you can bring there. But you can also ask bigger questions for Glitter Girl, and she will try to tackle them in further adventures. You can also ask questions in the comments, of course. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe or thumbs up, and I will see you soon. Thanks!